We have got some exciting news. You would have seen an email come out regarding workflows. So our Maker team is really excited about the functionality of importing diagrams into TransIT. So we'll go over that in a little bit. Our agenda for today, we're just going to go over some questions and updates. We're going to review some of the script color indicators that we've had a few questions on. And again, we'll go over the new workflow and how to import and update workflows and then import them into your scripts. We'll go over a couple of tips of the month with some bonus tips, and then we'll just review the TransIT education page as well. So some of the questions we've had since our go live surrounds or talks about how to mark for deletion when you're using the import and export option. So I'll be able to show you how to do that very easy. We've had some clients with multiple issues with their roles and positions and having them merged into one. So I'll show you how you can easily mark either roles or positions for deletion en masse instead of just using the checkbox. We've also had a question about facilities and scripts and why they aren't updating as quickly as possible. We've been asked how plan category sequences work, so I'll be able to show you that. We've also been asked how you can delete a plan, so I'll show you how you can delete a plan. And then just something simple about opening a new window. In TransIT 6, just about every page you clicked on, you went into a new window. So I'll quickly show you an example of where you can easily just open a new window and keep working in the same window you are working in. So some of the updates we've completed this last month, you can now import roles from Excel into your org settings. We fixed a few script issues. So we had some script header details not populating. And just a reminder to use your square brackets and then start typing and selecting from the menu that pops up. There was an issue where when you're editing a test script, special characters were automatically being added into your steps. We also had an issue where header detail values were actually showing in where the header name was. So that was fixed as well. And then we also had a client-specific issue where the screen was jumping when using the right-click option in scripts, and I'll show you the fix that was put in a little bit. In regards to modules, there was an issue where adding a step to a module, you had an error message that's now been fixed. And we also fixed the step ordering when you're generating a module from your script page. Now you can select any modules and it will retain the numerical order, and it doesn't matter what order you select them in. So if you select 6, 4, 2, it will then generate your module with your steps 2, 4, 6. We've also added an icon on the home page for the TransIT education, which I'll be able to show you. We also fixed an issue where during a test round, the screen was refreshing. We've added clickable links to an issue where you can directly go from the issue to the test script and steps. We also fixed the server issue that occurred last week where we were getting logged out of TransIT. And I'll be able to show you the push email to send a notification to an assigned user. That was a functionality that a lot of our clients used in TransIT 6, and now that's back in TransIT 7, so I'll be able to show you how to do that. The script color indicators, so you may have noticed when you're in your scripts page, whenever you make an update, it will turn orange. So the last updated line will turn orange. If you import anything in from anywhere, it will change orange and then automatically refresh to white once you make another change. And the cool little rose color is in reference to your headers. So the rose red, if you don't have a value in your header, it will turn red. So I'll be able to show you how you can easily identify those two different colors. and then how to fix them. The rose red color is really cool when you're reviewing your scripts. It'll tell you if you're missing a header detail or not. Something really cool and new in TransIT 7 are workflows. So once we jump into TransIT, I'll be able to show you. But some main points here is that it needs to be a PNG file and under 5 megabytes. TransIT will automatically read your workflow diagram and import it into TransIT. You can add in positions and module information very easily once you've imported in your workflow. And it's very easy then to import into a script. The tip of the month is around find and replace. So I'll be able to show you how you can find and replace different words inside either modules or scripts and change them rather than looking for them individually. And then we'll review how you can refresh your browser and also what happens when you have no results with your modules and workflows. So we'll jump right into it. Does anyone have any questions or anything that they would like to see when we get through everything today? Awesome. Okay, so I'll show you quickly how you can import from Excel and use your mark for deletion. So when you go into your org settings up here, and I'm just going to use roles as an example. So if you have a lot of roles that you want to mark for deletion, rather than checkboxing all of these and going through them one by one, you can right-click the blue banner here and export to Excel. I've already exported the file here for us. And you'll notice that column C here is the mark for deletion. We're not using a yes or a no, we're using this little tick box here. So all you need to do, if you want to select the different roles for deletion, you can just go through, copy and paste, decide which ones that you want to mark for deletion. Obviously, save your file, and then we can click the blue banner here and import from Excel. Okay. When we import it in, all the ones that I marked here are now automatically marked for deleted. So if we pull our file through over here, you can see the bed management here, I marked for deletion, and we'll go across the bed management and it's marked for deletion. So it's just another option if you are looking to review some of your roles and positions, and obviously scrolling through this screen is a little bit tough, and then having to tick them all the time. You can now import and export. Fairly simple process to do to review all of your roles and positions. In regards to the facility and the scripts, if you decide to update a script and you do a mass update, so if I go through and I decide I want to change the facility on 157 lines, it will take TransIT a little bit of time to update the vendor or the facility. So it may not show up on your screen straight away, but if you give it a little bit of time, we've been informed that it could take up to an hour if you do a mass change. We've also been recommended that you break it up into chunks. So if you decide you want to change the facility, maybe do 30 or 40 rows at a time, and it should update live on your screen. If you're doing 100+ lines, it may take a little bit of time for it to update in the background.
Travis, I think where it takes the hour to update is on the scripts page. So in the facility column on the scripts page, it might take up to an hour to show there.
Okay. And then the question about plan category sequence. So if you have a lot of categories in your plans, you can now go into your plan category inside your org settings, and you can set your sequence up. And what this will do is it will order your drop-down menu when you're selecting your plan category. So at the moment, it's 10 through to 110, whatever sequence you have in your org settings. But let's say we want to, or we use testing as an example, as our main plan category, and we want that to show at the top. We can now actually change the sequence so that it's at the top here. I'm going to just quickly refresh the page. So you'll see that it's number 1 at the top here. If we go into our plan and we create a new plan over here, you'll find that when we go into the category here, testing will show up at the top here. So now you don't have to scroll all the way down every single time. So that's how the drop-down plan sequence can work. So if you don't have org settings, you'll have to get one of your administrators to look at that. Does anyone have any questions on that one? Awesome. While we're in plans, in terms of deleting a project at the moment, deleting a plan at the moment, generally speaking, across all of the functionality in TransIT, the way you move a plan to deleted is that you right click and you select change project. And the drop-down menu, you select deleted. Once you select deleted, it will be removed from your list here. If you do want to reappear or you've made a mistake, the easiest way to do that is by going into org settings, and you go down to your projects. And across here, you would uncheck mark for deletion, and that plan or module or workflow would then show up. And then once you've done all your edits and changed the project again, you would come back in here and select this mark for deletion. And the only other really simple thing that sometimes we take for granted, if we're looking to do some things in multiple windows. In TransIT 6, everything opened up into a new screen. The easiest way to open up into a new screen is by using the control key on your keyboard and clicking onto the icon. This will open up a new tab automatically and will allow you to go back and forth into different areas. So let's say you're working on a script and you're editing it. You don't want to then have to click here and then click the back arrow and keep going back and forth. So you can just use the control key and use your click button and it'll open up a new screen. While we're in the steps area, we can review the screen jumping issue. So we did have a couple of issues where if you're editing a line on any of your scripts, it would automatically jump you straight back up to the top of your script. Obviously, if you have 1,016 lines or 1,116 lines, you want to stay where you're making your edit. So if we make an edit to this step here, and we just change the application and we hit save, if it does boop you straight up to the top of your one moment, please. We'll have to have a look at that. So usually what it would do is if you've made a change, it will turn orange like that. And the screen would then go automatically up to the top here. After a couple of seconds, it will refresh and then go down to the line that you're actually on. And there's an actual button here that you can use that will say go to step. So if it doesn't automatically refresh, you can click this button just here that should appear. And then you can click go to step and it would automatically jump you down. So I'll have to have a look at that one. That's not appearing. The next little feature and enhancement we have is the clickable links to your test scripts and test steps on an issue. So if we're looking at an issue and we're reviewing it in here, we've now got this cool little feature here where it says test script and test step. and these links are all clickable. So if you wanted to go into your test script, you can now control click, and it will take you into your script. And then if we look across here, it'll tell you the actual step number. You can actually click that as well, and it will do the same thing. It'll take you into step 9 here. And then you can see the actual step and the script that it's linked to, which is a cool little feature. The last little feature that was really cool in TransIT 6 that we now have in TransIT 7 is the ability to send a email reminder to a user inside a plan. So if we pick a plan here and we head in, you can now see here on this plan that we've got a lot of activities that are on hold because the dependencies haven't been done. So we can look here and see that I haven't completed this activity, and all of these dependencies here, all these activities are waiting for this one activity to be finished. Even though it is the end date of the 18th, it's Friday at 12:30. So we want to make sure that I get this activity done. So the way you would send a reminder, you just right click, go down to more and hit email assigned, and you can click send. And the email will, just going to pull it across for everyone to see. The email will now send through information about that activity and what it is, and then a clickable link that the user can now click, sign in, and go and look at that actual activity. So that's a really cool feature in plans that's now back, and it was in TransIT 6. It is now in TransIT 7. I'll quickly review the colors for the scripts. So you would have seen when I made a change to any of these lines here, it will turn orange, which will indicate that that is the last line that was updated. When you do import a lot of lines in, everything will turn orange. Once the page refreshes or you do another update, that will then disappear and turn white. This rose red color indicates that there is a header detail inside that step that doesn't have a value. So we can see here that has patient name. And when you're reviewing your scripts, it's very easy just to scroll through and see which ones have values and which ones don't. So when we go into our header, patient name, so if we use my name, and we go back into the script, you'll see here that it has automatically brought in the value of my name, and the step has now disappeared from being a rose red colored now to a white color. So obviously that's really helpful and handy if you've got over 1,000 lines and you want to review which steps have the correct header details or if there's any issues. So just keep an eye out for that. Does anyone have any questions before we move on to workflows? Awesome. So this is the really cool feature that we're all really excited about. So I'm going to create a workflow for everybody, and you'll see how it loads up into the system. So if we go add a workflow over here, and we're going to do an ED pre-arrival quick reg, and we're going to add in our little description. We're going to select the vendor, and then we're going to upload the PNG file. I'm just going to show you the PNG file so that everybody can see what it will bring in. Just waiting for it to open up. There we go. So this is our PNG file. So ED pre-arrival quick reg. So this is going to be brought into TransIT. So when we go down here, we want to add a workflow. And then we want to select the PNG file. So this is the one we want to select here. And then we want to attach. And then there's a little indicator down the bottom right-hand corner here. Don't hit save until that indicator's all finished. That just means it's attaching the diagram to the workflow. Once it's all done, we hit save. You'll be into this screen here. So it'll take a couple of seconds to load. While we're waiting for it to load, you can then go and add more workflows as you go. So if you have 5 or 6 different workflows that you want to add, you can just keep adding them as we go. When we go back into the pre-arrival and quick reg workflow, you'll see that it's brought in all of the boxes from the actual diagram, and this is where it gets really easy to edit your workflows. So once it's all been imported in, you can now put in your position and module. So if you know the position and module, you can then go and add it in. So the way we would edit this is you just double click and you search for your position. So the first position we would like to add is the EDRN nurse, and we would hit save. And then we just keep continuing to build our story. So if you don't know the position or the module, or you're not sure, you can always leave it blank and then move on. So we'll just keep building our story. So the second step is also going to be the EDRN. And we're actually going to add in a module because we know that we have a module for the pre-arrival document. So we're going to search for the pre-arrival. And the one we would like is the ED pre-arrival, this one here. And we click save. And then we move to step 3. We know that this is, again, the EDRN. We click save. Step 4, we know that this is a quick reg for the patient. So we want the registration clerk to do this position. So we can go down and do the reg clerk. And I know we have a module here. So we can actually search for quick reg. And the one we would like is quick reg, new patient. And we hit save. And then the last position is for the EDRN. And we also know that we have a module for this one. So we want to do this module here. So now we've built our story. You'll see how really easy it is now to build an actual script from workflows. So I'm happy with my workflow now. So I'm going to go over to my scripts page, and I'm going to start to import my workflows into my script. So we'll go add a workflow, and the first workflow that we want to add is the one we just added. So this one here, ED pre-arrival and quick reg. We can click save, and it'll bring all of those steps from the modules into TransIT. And then we can keep building our story from the rest of the workflows that we have. So the next one is the triage. We click save. And you can see here the rose red colors means that we don't have any header details in or header values. And we can scroll down. You can see that the first workflow ended here and the second workflow started here. And we can keep adding in all of our workflows. And you'll see that we can keep continuing to build our story very, very easy. The next one we would like to add in. And you can see here that the total steps here are now increasing. Provider, workflow. And we want to do the and the last one we want to do is the RAD. And you can see in 60 seconds, I've now added in a script for my car accident. And if we scroll all the way down, you can see that it's brought in all of our modules that we built our story inside the workflow. So that's pretty cool. Does anyone have any questions on creating a workflow, importing the diagram in, adding positions and modules, or creating your script?
So when you bring in that diagram, I guess you're saying that the steps created automatically can be for different modules. So if you have an existing module, like how does that know where to insert that step in your existing module?
So,
So
Christine, what it is, do you mind if I take it, Travis?
Go for it.
Okay, so Christina, what it is that you can quickly bring in your workflows from the diagram, and if you already have modules built, you can insert them. But if you don't, if it's just those steps, you could start using that right away as a test script. So obviously it didn't have actions and outcomes, it would just have the actions. But if you knew the module, you could go in and replace the line with the actual module, and it would bring in all of the real steps. So if you had a workflow that inside the Visio diagram, or however you're documenting your workflows, there was 3 or 4 steps that you knew made up the quick reg, then you could replace those 3 or 4 steps in that workflow inside TransIT with that module, automatically bring in all the steps that you'd already formatted. Does that make sense?
Yeah, kind of. If you're replacing steps, then you assign the module that is already existing, but then you have to go in and delete the steps that were already there, or does it automatically replace them?
It doesn't automatically replace them. So
Okay.
in the workflow, if there was 3 rows that made up the ED quick reg or whatever, you would attach the module to the first step and delete the other 2.
Got it. And then you have to go in and add your outcomes manually.
No. If you replace it with a real module, it'll bring in the exact steps that you have in your pre-built module.
Right, but it only brings in the action. It doesn't bring in an outcome.
It brings in everything from the module. It's just if you leave it blank. So say there was 5 steps in the workflow and you replaced 4 of them, and one of them was really more of a comment, like the patient arriving, then it would bring in that description from the description column, and it would put it in the action, and it would leave the outcome blank.
That's what I'm saying. Right. Yeah. So if you want to put outcomes to them, that's an additional step that you would be taking.
Correct. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, but at least it's bringing in the action. Okay, I got it.
Awesome.
Thank you.
And we've only got a couple of minutes, so I'll quickly show you the 2 or 3 tips that we've got. So the find and replace is something you can use in modules and scripts. So if we use this search bar at the top here, and we search for green, and I'll just show you when we go into this module, we can search for green, and we can see that there is a green in this one here. So we can go back to our modules, search for green again, if I can spell. And you can highlight as many different modules as you'd like. You'd right click and hit find and replace. We want to find green and replace it with yellow. The match case just refers to if there's capital letters, and we can hit replace all. And if we search for yellow in our one that we did our find and replace, we can actually change this to yellow, and you can see that this one here has been changed to yellow. So this is a cool little feature if you're looking to kind of replace a lot of words or colors or anything in your modules or scripts from one to another. You can use that find and replace, and you can also select a whole bunch of different ones and then use the find and replace. I only did the one module. The other couple of tips that we had, just in terms of refreshing browsers, you can hit Control F5, it'll refresh your browser. And then if you do have any issues with no results showing up when you're searching for example, modules, it means that you might have special characters in your description. So you just have to get rid of your special characters. And the last thing that we will go over is just the TransIT education icon. which is now on your home page at the top right-hand corner here. And there's a couple of ways you can do it. You can click on the icon and it will take you into the TransIT education page. You can right-click and open in a new tab, or you can use the control key on your keyboard and click, and it will open a new tab for you. And then when you go down, you can see now there's a workflow tab here. We can click on the workflow tab and you can actually go in and have a look at how to import in a workflow into TransIT and editing a workflow in TransIT. You can also go on our YouTube page and look at the virtual user group recording, and we'll be able to look at it there. I know we're pushed for time, but does anyone have any questions on what we've covered today? Awesome. Well, everyone have a great Friday afternoon, and we'll see you next month for the user group.
Thank you.